Mr. President, it's Thursday. Senate's still very busy here. We've got a lot of work to do as we're all trying to get home for the holidays. And I thought it was still the appropriate time to come down and talk about somebody who's making our state such a great state, somebody who's contributing to the community, somebody who I refer to as our Alaskan of the Week. And now we've been doing this for, going on almost 6 years, maybe 5 years. But it's always one of my favorite times of year, even when the speech is late. So I appreciate the majority leader and the presiding officer letting us stay open here for one more speech. And I know the pages, they love the Alaskan of the Week. So this is a little bit of a treat. But I always start this speech with a little bit of an update, what's going on in Alaska. So right now, Utqiagvik, formerly known as Barrow, that's Point Barrow, that's the northernmost place, northernmost community in North America. They haven't seen the sun in nearly a month. Sun went down, and it's not rising again until January 23rd. So they get a lot of darkness, 66 days of darkness. Great people up there, wonderful people up there. I love it up there. We've had some pretty significant cold spells already that for now doesn't seem to be lifting. It was in 40 below zero in Fairbanks yesterday. In Anchorage, the high was 4 degrees above zero. So Fairbanks can get really cold. 40 below, that's chilly. Tough people throughout the state. 4 degrees above is pretty cold for Anchorage. But everybody's excited because Christmas is right around the corner. And it's, of course, a great time to be in Alaska. We do have a place. I was just talking to the presiding officer and the majority leader. We have a great community in interior Alaska called North Pole, Alaska. Santa actually lives there. We have a city council member, North Pole, named Santa Claus. The reindeer are there. And, of course, I'm, like everybody else here, looking forward to getting home, going to midnight mass, eating my special Alaska seafood Newberg, having friends over, family, of course. And I think we all know we're very fortunate. I certainly believe I'm a very blessed man. And we're blessed in Alaska because of people like Shari Daugherty, who is our Alaskan of the Week. And so, Mr. President, I want to talk a little bit about Shari, because what she's done is literally the definition of the Christmas spirit. For the last month, as she has done for the last 30 years, she has been working pretty much around the clock, volunteering her time for the nonprofit Share the Spirit. Share the Spirit. That's the nonprofit that Shari helped found in 1992, 30 years. Share the Spirit's mission is to make sure that hundreds of less fortunate families in Homer, Alaska, her hometown, get all of the ingredients for a proper Christmas dinner and presents for the kids. Share the Spirit. Sounds pretty simple, but as you can imagine, this is no easy task. And Shari would tell you that it involves so many others in Homer to make sure that the children in the community who might not otherwise have anything under the tree can experience the magic of Christmas that every child deserves. So, who is Shari? This great volunteer who's been doing incredible work in Homer. Originally from Chico, California, Shari and her parents moved to Homer when she was in the 10th grade. Her father was a fisherman, and for those of you who have been to Homer or want to come to Homer, I will tell you it is one of the most stunningly beautiful places in all of America, really in all of the world. It's known as the halibut fishing capital of the world, but anyone who goes there falls in love with Homer. It is surrounded by the glistening waters of Kachemak Bay, jagged mountains, glaciers, snow-capped volcanoes, and a great tight-knit community. After college at the University of Alaska in Fairbanks, Shari moved around a little, but in 1991 she came back home with her daughter. She did so because she had family there in Homer, and even if she didn't, as she put it, had a whole town full of family in Homer. Now, volunteering was in her blood. She said her mom stressed the importance of giving back to the community since she was a young girl. So she almost immediately joined the Emblem Club. That's the unofficial auxiliary of the Elks. And during one of their first meetings, it was announced that a Christian ministers group that every year provided food and presents for people in the community was actually going to disband. A meeting was called. The talking lasted for a very long time at such volunteer meetings. That can happen, of course, until Shari finally cut in and said, hey, you guys, we're really burning daylight here. Here's what needs to happen. We need to form a committee, form a plan, form a nonprofit, and get busy. Get busy. And as such things go, she and another woman, Norma Faust, were put in charge. And boy, did they make a difference. That year, with Christmas only weeks away, a nonprofit to form, a fundraiser to organize with the help of a strong community, they put together 57 baskets of food, turkey, stuffing, potatoes, sugar, salt, eggs, celery, pie crusts, cards with recipes on them, all the fixings for a nice Christmas dinner. And then there were the presents for more than 100 children. 220 gifts that first year, 30 years ago. And the program has grown ever since. Hundreds of families each year are referred to Shari's program by social service agencies, including food banks, and anywhere people go for help. The information is passed on to Shari and the whole Share the Spirit team. Each family is identified by their needs. A family of 3, say, with the 4-year-old girl who needs boots, would like a princess costume. They are then signed a number that goes onto a Christmas decoration and put on one of the numerous trees hosted by local businesses in Homer. Homer residents pick up a decoration and buy the presents. Pretty well organized. And Shari and the volunteers then get busy organizing a huge spaghetti feed to raise the funds, and then they go shopping for the food. A few days before Christmas, the group stages the location, normally at the high school, presents presents, and the food baskets are then dispersed. Mr. President, as I mentioned, Shari has done this for 30 years. 30 years. And throughout the years, many stories and people stand out. This is Alaska, so of course there was the year of the huge blizzard. Nobody could drive, so they enlisted a club of snow machine riders to deliver the presents and food throughout the area. There's the woman who now lives in Pennsylvania who lived in Homer for a while with a young child. That child, because of the group, was able to experience Christmas. And now, like clockwork, this woman sends a quarterly donation to share the Spirit. You see how the Spirit is literally being shared all over the country. Alaska, Homer, Pennsylvania. There are the many people, now adults, some with children of their own, who got help, who got presents because of Share the Spirit, and are now regular volunteers. Shari knows of many people who got presents as children because of her group's efforts and decided to stay in Homer, have families of their own, and now help out at Share the Spirit. Quote, they decided that this is where they were going to live. This is the town they're going to live in and contribute to because this is the place that took care of them when they were young and needed it. Shari is retiring this year from both the program and from her job as a medical biller at South Peninsula Hospital. She'll be leaving Share the Spirit in good hands, though, Kelly Glidden, who began volunteering as a sixth grader in 1993. John Adams, who started when he was 8 years old volunteering. And Emmy Olson Dreyer, who has been involved in Share the Spirit since she was 3, and who is also Shari's daughter. They will take on the mantle of this great volunteer focused on the Christmas spirit that Shari started. And there are those who have been there since the beginning, Dee Dee Schultz and Fran Vanessant. And then there's the great community of Homer, a community that takes care of its own. So thank you, Shari, for all you've done throughout the years, 3 decades, to keep the Christmas spirit alive. Thank you for making our state a much better place, a more generous place, a caring place for all, and touching the lives of so many, and especially for making sure that children in Homer and across Alaska, and really across America, experience the joy and the magic of Christmas. Congratulations, Shari, on being our Alaskan of the Week. Merry Christmas. I yield the floor.